Hi guys, let me know if this is decent enough for you. I know there is a lag, but hopefully we'll manage to, do a live streaming that it still makes sense. The point in this streaming, so if you can let me know in the comments if you can hear me, if you can see me, how bad it is. This is the first time I do this. I want to start making this once in a while. I think it's a good place to, meet and clarify some points on drumming. I do this on a regular basis every week on my website. Okay, so you need more volume. That's good to know. And I will increase the volume of the streaming because I think that is the problem. So let me fix that for you guys. And thank you very much for the feedback. I will disappear for a second, but I will be immediately back. I just have to work. I just have to turn on the volume for you guys so that you can hear me better. So let me know if this is better for you guys. Hopefully you can hear me. And as I was saying, the point of these streamings are for us to clarify and talk about drums. Be patient with me. It's too much left pan. Thank you very much, guys, for letting me know. I will try to fix everything as fast as possible. So we can have a better experience. And yes, let me know if this is better. That would be great. Thank you guys to help me for my first streaming. I feel a little bit of a boomer right now. I used to do these streamings already years ago and I kind of lost touch with it. Still could be a little louder. Okay, I will adjust that so that we get this as good as possible for you guys. And then I'll save the settings so next time we won't waste time on my setup. But being the first time, it's a little bit of a setup situation. Awesome. So welcome. I have a few cameras set up here. I just want to shift to see if you guys can see all of the cameras or not. And basically I want to go through some questions that I get on YouTube and reply to the questions. It is the first stream. I mean, honestly, it's not the first stream ever. I used to do streams like this back in the days, but I've stopped for a while. And I'm so happy to hear that, Samurai, because that's the whole point for me here is to help you guys out. And I'm just gonna throw out this so that you guys know, because there's so much stuff going on online and I know it's confusing and it's frustrating. But this type of streamings is what I do every week on my website, jamespaynedrums.com. So if you guys want to have a personalized experience where we do this like on a regular basis, where I help you out every week to practice, and you have a guide in your path of developing drums, you can sign up to my website. You can use the coupon code LIVE, LIVE, to get a 50% off today, both from the monthly, annual, and the lifetime. We have a lifetime option, so feel free to use that if you want to do this on a regular basis. But beside this, that I just wanted to throw out so that you guys know, and it's an option that you can have in your drumming path, I want to go through a bunch of questions and see if raise the voice a bit louder. Honestly, guys, I'm not sure. I mean, I still have volume, but I think there's should be something from the settings here, because it feels like I don't unless there's no way, like, if this is a good way of turning on the volume. Let's see. I will max out here, because I am pretty loud on all my audio interfaces, so hopefully this first stream, many things can go wrong. It's true. Hopefully not too many. Hopefully it'll be good enough to make it bearable. Okay, so yeah, keep telling me, guys, what I can fix. I will try to do more streams as like in the future. So this is the reality for me. Is I'm very busy, of course. I have a lot of, like many students, I have a lot of content that I create, and I go on tour on top of that. So I am leaving for tour next week, actually. So I'm going to do this. This is going to be like a little, like, first stream to introduce this thing, and then I will try to keep at least once a month here, if time allows me to. But as I was just saying, I do this on a regular basis on my website. That's a priority. That's part of my job. So if you want more of this stuff, if you want guidance, the way the streaming works on my website is we choose together a curriculum. For example, next week we're finishing the swivel technique curriculum, which means that for 6, 7, 8 weeks we go through a program of developing the swivel motion. Before that we did, I think, the wrist motion. Before that was the ankle motion, and we repeat these topics depending on the requests that I have from people. So basically, yeah, that's what we do. We do every week a different workout together, and then that's going to be the workout of the week for you guys. And if there's anything that you can do on your own, you basically can send me videos, send me emails, write in the forum questions. And on the Sundays when we do the streamings, we get we go through the questions, we go through the workouts, and we do this together. So I have not been to Turkey, Samurai. I think we will come and play in Turkey this year, but I haven't been there yet. I only went to the airport. I did a layover in your airport somewhere in Turkey, but I have not seen Turkey. I really want to go there. I am really fascinated from also especially ancient history, and I know you guys have a lot of stuff there, so I'm looking forward to come over and experience a little bit of that. So let me go through my comments, guys, and let me see what questions I can answer, so that we make this live streamings useful for everybody. So the first comment is, I wonder if we need the spring at all hearing you play. It's amazing. Okay, this is the first thing that I want to that we can talk about, and you guys can send me questions if you have in the chat. Okay, so if you want to ask me questions right now, feel free to do so. And yes, it's going to be a Cataclysm gig in I think it's Istanbul, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, let's get to this thing real quick of having a working without the springs, right? So working without the springs for bass drum technique, I'll remove the right foot spring, right? Okay, so now the pedal is completely dead, as you guys can see, in a sense that the spring is not there and there's no type of reaction from the pedal. So this is a great thing that I really like to work on, because it allows me to work on the correct motions, but without the pressure of the spring. So, for example, what happens? Like with the spring, the pedal has its own natural speed, correct? In a sense that the spring keeps the beater moving. And this determines the speed of the pedal, right? So, if I try to play slow ankle motion with the spring on, I will do a lot of effort because I'm working against the spring. Like the spring wants to keep the beater moving and I'm blocking it with a small muscle and a small area like the articulation of the ankle. So I feel a lot of tension, I feel the calf really engaged and involved, and it's a sign that my body is fighting external forces instead of taking advantage of them. Okay, so what this means is that the spring determines the speed of the pedal, right? Like depending on our spring setting, like if there's a lot of tension, the pedal will be very fast. If there's a looser tension, the pedal will be a little bit slower, but still will have a consistent motion. So if I have to kind of like work, let's say from like at a slow tempo, it's easier to work with the leg motion, right? Because the leg motion is just the weight of the leg deals with the spring tension. It's not a big deal for the weight of the leg to kind of like counter the spring tension. The problem starts when we start to speed up with the leg motion. There's too much mass that we're moving with our foot and our leg to speed up. So we create tension and we block the motion. So that's where we want to shift to ankle motion. The ankle motion is a technique that needs some education. It's not as instinctive as the leg motion, right? So we want to learn how to develop the ankle technique. And usually to develop new things, new motions, you want to start from maybe slower tempo where you have a little bit more time to let the body think and execute the things. But because the spring is such a strong force, it wants us to move fast immediately. So we enter in this kind of like situation where it's too fast for a new motion, but if we play slow, we're working against the spring. So removing the spring eliminates that issue, because without the spring, I can do the correct motion. So I isolate the leg, I don't have the leg involved, but at the speed at which I'm comfortable at, right? Because I'm just dealing with the rebound of the pedal. I don't have the spring that is constantly telling me, let's go, like consistently. But I play one stroke and I pause. So it's a great exercise to develop the technique for this reason, right? So I can isolate the correct motion at my comfortable speed. That's it. If we have a hard time doing this, we can start by just doing the motions off the pedal, just so ankle motion, tapping on the floor, so we make sure that our body is able to do the motion. Sometimes here you can also already feel twitches, right? Like the twitch motion. So we develop this and then we apply it to the pedal. And we want to get to around 150, 160 BPMs without the spring to then jump into like being able to put the spring back on and just work with the pedal. Okay, so this is the reason why I remove the springs and I use the exercises without the springs. And you know, here you can already kind of feel like this is with no springs, right? Like, and this is a live streaming, so it's not pre-recorded and edited and blah blah blah. This is how, you know, how well you can develop your technique with this type of exercises. Swivel, heel up, heel toe, you know, all kind of like heel down, leg motion. You can do this with every technique, so it doesn't matter what technique you want to develop. It's a great exercise because it allows you to develop the correct motions at the comfortable speed. This is the point, right? So I know there's other philosophies around that says that this type of exercises are useless. They're not really benefiting. Of course, it's the opposite. And, you know, I am the living proof of, you know, developing even accents, playing paradiddles with the feet. Like, you can really do all kind of stuff when you you develop the technique in the right way. So this is a very interesting exercise for that reason. I see how you guys are asking me the speed cobra, the dynasync, or iron cobra. So I still use the dynasync mainly when I do lessons in my office or in another setup that I have, and those are great pedals. I've developed all my technique and my playing on iron cobras. So iron cobras to me always feel like my natural pedal. They're balanced. They feel just, you know, that my body got used to it. So it's for sure a matter of habit. I do think iron cobras are the most balanced pedals out there. And by balanced pedal, what I mean is this. When we remove the spring of a pedal, we understand how balanced is a pedal. So if there are pedals that, depending on the action of the pedal, so depending on the cam that they have, they are designed to go more back or more towards the front. So that's a balance of a pedal. And the Iron Cobra, if I put it 46 degrees, goes back. If I put it 44 degrees, goes front, which means it's a very balanced pedal in that sense. Then when we put the spring back on, we have just like a regular pedal. Like with the spring on, all the pedals feels similar. But the reality is that then, depending on the action, there are pedals that have a short action, so you have this type of feel. So you have, even no matter how much you push, you don't have power, but you usually have speed with those pedals because they're very light. I don't love that feeling. Other pedals have the opposite. They have a very wide action. For example, the rolling glide of the Iron Cobra, which has a more rounded camera. That pedal has more action, so you have the beater going even more in the back. So it's designed to have more action in that sense. And so that I always feel like I have to do a little bit of an extra stroke, like an extra motion, if I want to speed up. If you want a rock pedal or more, you know, heavy type of feel, the rolling glide would be great because it gives you that extra action. So you think of more rolling glide in the sense that there's more roll of the beater, so the beater has more action and has more power. The power glide it's an in-between cam, and so it's a pedal that has a little bit of both. It's still a good action, not too much, so it's very well balanced. The length of the board also, it's a very important thing, because like the sticks, the pedals have a fulcrum point. Like if I go here, if you go in different areas of the pedal, you have different pressure. Like if you go here, you have less pressure than if you go here, where you have to press a lot. So in this case, the Iron Cobra has a nice fulcrum point around the top of the pedal board. And there are other pedals that have longer boards where the same fulcrum point is like halfway on the pedal board. And that removes space of action, because the pedal has, you know, the lower you go, the less space you have. The higher you go, the more space you have. And so if you cannot take advantage of all the space of the pedal, you're already limited. Well, it means that you're already kind of like limiting the action that the foot can do on the pedal. So the length of the pedal board of the Iron Cobra, I think it's also very well designed and chosen for the type of balance. So I think these adjustments overall make the Iron Cobra my choice for that reason, on top of everything. And then the chain drive, it's a little bit more soft. So when I go, for example, slow tempos, I have no problem. When I go mid tempos, I have no problem. When I go faster, or even faster, still no problem, because the chain drive kind of like allows a little bit of like more soft response of the pedal. While when I use the Dynasyncs, for example, they help in the faster parts, because the direct drive, it's a faster response. But when I do mid-tempo stuff, I have to control the pedal more, because the direct drive is not absorbing part of the motion, but it's like a very direct response of the pedal. So for that reason, with Cataclysm, I use a lot of, we play different tempos. We go from like more a Pantera sound type of grooves in certain parts, all the way to mid-tempo trashy type of drumming, and then trashy in the sense of thrash metal, and then more death metal, faster up-tempo stuff, 240 BPMs type of thing. So having to deal with all of these different tempos, the chain drive feel is a more versatile option. And so I was working a little bit less with the Iron Cobras, and so that's why now live I went back to use Iron Cobras. But the Dynasyncs are a great pedal, because you can adjust the settings in a way that it can become a jazz pedal all the way to a death metal pedal. That's how, because you can actually adjust the action of the pedal and the height of the pedal board. And so you can have a very short action or a very wide action, and then you can have higher board pedal or lower board pedal. So it's really the settings in the pedal are the smartest settings that I think you can find in the market. So that's a great thing. But to be honest, the best way in my opinion, to test a pedal, because then it's a personal thing also, is to go in a store, remove the springs of the pedals, and try to bounce the pedal. And every pedal will have a different feel without the spring, and you can really feel how a pedal, like without the tension of the spring, how the pedal reacts. Or try to have the same exact setting on all the pedals, but that's a little bit of a time consuming, and you have to maybe, you know, get a lot of pedals out. But removing the spring is a little bit faster if the pedals allow you to do it and the store allows you to do it, and that's, I think it's a good way of testing the pedals, in my opinion. Or friends, if you have different, like friends with different pedals, that's a good way of testing. Like go and mess a little bit with their pedals. But yeah, any tips to stop my shin muscle activating during full leg technique? Yes. So this is a very good question. The reason why the shin gets activated, it's because we create tension on the ankle or on the toes. So if we work in this way, there is constant tension. So let's be clear about something here. there, the tension, there's activation of the muscle, right? And there has to be activation and deactivation of the muscle to be able to have a smooth technique. So activation, deactivation, activation, deactivation. That's when you feel the muscle being relaxed. Also, how much you activate, right? If you activate all the way, you activate the muscle 100% and then you have to deactivate the muscle 100%, or activate the muscle 20% and deactivate the muscle 20%. So these factors are the ones that really affect the tension of our limbs in general. But talking about the foot is also, like, it's very common to have a lot of tension. So if we have a stiff approach, in a sense that we do this, we stomp our foot while we're playing the leg motion, we're keeping a constant contraction of the shin. So how you remove that, it's not like by not using the shin at all, which is not possible. We saw this in experiments and everything, it's not possible. But you can minimize the activation of the shin by keeping the toes relaxed and the ankle relaxed. So without the pedal, it would be, instead of doing this, it's this, right? So we don't have a flat foot approach like this, but we have, we raise the leg and we let the foot relaxed, deactivated, right? So then when you land first with the toes and with the heel. So you have a phlegm sound when you land and not a flat foot sound. So instinctively, our body, we use the shin muscle to walk, right? Like when we walk, it wants to, we do this, we raise the leg, and then we do this to put our foot down so that we don't stomp on our foot and fall. So automatically the body wants to kind of activate the shin and do this because it's a habit that it has. So maybe you need to educate a little bit this motion in the sense of activating the upper part of the leg to raise the foot, but not the lower part. And in this way, applying this to the pedal, you have this result in the sense that you are basically not doing this, not stomping and not having tension and stiff ankle, but you let the foot down. So without the spring, this would be this thing, where my foot is always in contact and it's kind of like creating this little wave with the pedal. Instead of this, of kicking the pedal and keeping the leg stiff, the ankle stiff. So toes and ankle tension are the ones that create the shin muscle issues. So you want to raise the foot and keep the leg and keep the foot deactivated, and then when you land in this way. Now, does this work in every leg motion situation? No. And this is where it gets a bit tricky. If you have a constant motion, it does work. If you play only one stroke, it doesn't work because you don't have power. When you play only one stroke, you want to have a whipping motion. So that's where you work on the flat foot. So what's the difference? The difference is, I call it constant leg motion. You have this, what I just explained. You raise the foot and then you let the foot deactivate it and you do this. The flat foot instead is 1, so same up motion, 2, activation of the foot, 3, landing. What does this do? A whipping motion, right? It's a molar motion with the foot. It's the same concept. Why? Because that's where you generate the power for a single stroke. But if you do this for every stroke in a constant motion, you create too much tension and too much more work. So it's better to keep deactivated. So it's 2 different leg motions. This one, constant motion, and if I want more power, I can take advantage of the pedal board. I can go in the lower part and just have the beater swinging more. But if I want powerful single strokes, flat foot. It's exactly the same concept as, you know, playing one stroke or free stroke. Free stroke, not three, but free in the sense of the free stroke approach, right? So letting the stick bounce. Like when you have a consistent, I hope this is not too loud for you guys in the microphone, but anyway, this is one approach, which is the one I just talked about, and instead this one is the whipping motion, so it's the flat foot approach. Okay, so different approaches, guys, different, still always the same leg motion in the sense that everything comes from, you know, hip flexor area, but the landing changes because the up motion is the same, but the landing changes. One keeps the foot deactivated for constant strokes. The other one has a flat foot landing for whipping motion, powerful single strokes. I hope this is clear because it's a very asked question, and there's different philosophies, and I think this gets, there's a lot of misunderstanding and a lot of people that unfortunately they go around saying that they have the truth, but they can't even show what they're playing. They can't do what they preach. So it's very, very shady. But this is what we have managed to, and I personally have managed to see also from an experiment that I took part of in France, a real experiment with real scientists, with real biomechanic research engineers, with real gear that was used to prepare also for the Paris Olympics, France Olympics. So it's the real gear, not the Amazon, who knows where, you know, with fake grams, because that's obviously a fake thing that we saw online. But the one we did was in a real lab, and we saw all this activation and deactivation of the muscles, and we have understood what happens inside the muscles while we're doing this. I had like 40 different pieces of gear that were getting all the electric stimulations from the body, and so it wasn't like one sensor, but I had like 40 sensors from my back to all my legs, and all these sensors were giving all this data in a computer, super powerful computer that could take all the data real time. And they did this with 18 drummers, not one drummer. So like 40 sensors on 18 drummers. We got that data in result against, you know, whatever Amazon, if it's real sensor put on a leg in a bedroom. So so that's why I'm confident about this results that we got, and how we saw these muscles and technique correlations and details. Any tips for right-left coordination? Because I develop ankle motion, my legs isolated. It's sounding popcorny, sometimes 180, 200 BPM tempo area. Yes. First thing you want to check is balance. You want to make sure that when, and this camera just turned off, I'll turn it on now because we're going to switch to this camera. We want to make sure that when we play from one, let's say, technique, even a rest position, to ankle motion, nothing changes on our balance. We're not like shifting up and front and back with the weight or nothing like that, but we are very stable and we only deal with the weight of the legs. Second thing is the preparation. So before starting the strokes, we want to be in position. You want to be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Because if we are not in position, what will happen is that we will kind of like jump into the motions and it's gonna create issues. Third thing is that we don't want to, and this is an important part. This is one of the keys, in my opinion, of the foot technique. You can generate strokes in two ways. You can generate strokes through pressure, so starting from here and then releasing pressure, which engages the muscles a lot. There's a lot of tension, little result from the beaters, and you rely a lot on the gear. So you don't have a lot, like this is creating the strokes through pressure or through motion, which is a very different approach. To make this clear, guys, this is the clearest way I can, and you can try this. The difference is this. Generating the strokes through pressure is this. Do it with one finger and feel the difference. Pressure, a lot of work, a lot of work. It's hurting my finger. This is through pressure. Through motion is activation of the pedal and then keeping the pedal swinging. And with this approach, zero physical work. The pedal is doing all the work. Okay? So pressure, a lot of work, little result. Motion, generating the stroke through motion, way wider motion. So same approach would be pressure, little result. Motion, way more control, way more dynamic, and then more speed and so on. With this said, as we start to increase the speed, you want to increase the pressure on the pedal too. And that's a mathematical thing. You have to, because like you want to basically limit the swinging of the beater to have faster strokes, so you increase the amount of pressure. But I'm talking about 20% more pressure from the, like just raising the heel a little bit, not starting with all this physical work, you know. Sorry guys, my screen just turned off, so I have to turn it on. Anyway, so this is the main difference. It's like through pressure you do a lot of effort and have little result. Like the efficiency, we're talking like we have to calculate the efficiency of the result, like how much muscular activation and how much result are we getting out of the motions that we're doing, right? So if we have a lot of tension, for some reason my TV is collaborating, right? If we have a lot of tension for little dynamic, we're doing a lot of physical work for little result. I understand that this might be kind of like easier, a shortcut, because it requires less education. I get that. And if you have a show, or you know, you have something happening in a short period of time, do it. Do whatever you have to do to take the show, to make the gig work. Absolutely, 100%. But in the long run, you want to develop a better technique, a good technique, so that it's like riding a bike. Once you learn it, you keep it, you have it forever. So when we go, like when we start playing alternated feed and we have a lot of pressure, the popcorn comes a little bit from this, right, this approach. So you want to make sure instead that you have a good control of the motion of each foot, and then you can coordinate it. And with the having a good balance, this becomes very easy, because it's just like you're in this position, and then you just alternate the feet. But because you're, keyword, synchronized to the pedals, then you are taking advantage of the pedal. And just so you know, this is also another important thing. When you work on alternated feet, you're working on coordination. You're not working on technique. And I'll explain why. Working on technique is the study of the motion. If your right foot can execute the motion and your left foot can execute the motion, apply it on the pedal, apply it on, you know, whatever, the technique part is solved. It means that each foot can execute the motion. It's not a problem of the technique of the motion. The problem starts when you're alternating the feet, so one limb is playing in reference to another. That's a coordination, limb coordination issue, not a technique coordination issue, which means a technique coordination is like coordinating motions of a limb to execute a technique. Push-pull, for example. You want, you know, you have to coordinate the wrist and the fingers to being able to execute the motion. So that's technique coordination. Limb coordination is applying the push-pull to other limbs, right? And then independence is a pattern in relation, coordinating a pattern in reference to another pattern. So a 3 on top of 5, I don't know. 5 could be, what is it, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have a 3 on top of that. That's pattern independent, so that's a more, like, it's independent. So it's important to divide these three factors of technique, limb coordination, independence. Technique is the study of the motion. Coordination is one limb in reference to another. Independence is one pattern in reference to another. This is how I envision you know, the practice and the drumming development, because it clarifies how I'm practicing. I know that if I'm working in this way, I'm working on technique, but if I'm doing, you know, this, I'm working on coordination. I'm working on one limb in reference to the other. I'm not working on a single hand or a single technique thing. For example, unison, it's more part of the technique than the coordination, because it's not hard to do unison motions as far as limb coordination, but it's a good way to develop, to kind of have the weak limb, you know, have a reference from the strong limb. So if you develop technique, a good exercise is to do unison motions. You can do this with your feet too. Heel up, leg motion, heel down. I haven't done the swivel, to be honest, but surprisingly I can do it. Okay, so this is alternated. This is unison. I don't know if I don't think the swivel unison would be very useful, but in general, this type of exercises are useful because they're very, very good. Okay, what should be the minimum tempo for the exercise? Metronome, it's another interesting tool to me when I practice. So if I am developing technique, the first thing I want to do, let's say on foot, on heel up, okay? So the first thing, I understand that I have an external force that I have to deal with, the spring tension. So going back to the phases, I would first of all develop the body motion, making sure that my foot can actually do this, isolated from my leg. Then I would remove the spring and do the same thing without the spring, speeding it up to 160 BPMs. 160 BPMs is, let's say, around the minimal speed at which you can execute the ankle motion on the pedal with the spring. If you're trying to do that at 120, you're working against the spring tension. 140, 150 could be borderline okay. 160, I feel it's a good tempo where you're actually using only ankle motion. This also, of course, depends on your pedal settings, but it's a generic reference that usually works for most people, okay? So it's a good target to have. It's a good goal to put. No spring exercises, ankle motion up to 160 BPMs. 160 BPMs, you shift, you put the spring back on, and you work on this. Let's say that for now, the only moment in which I've used the metronome has been without the spring to get to the 160 BPM. Once I can get to the pedal with the spring, I'm working without the metronome. And I only add the metronome if I want to do technique application, because I'm not thinking of the motion anymore. I'm thinking of the motion in relation to the tempo. Very different focus point, okay? So what changes? Changes that I am not freely able to, you know, kind of like try different tempos, try different heel heights. I want to go lower heel, higher heel. Let's see what it feels like. I want to go all the way up in the pedal board. I want to go in the lower part of the pedal board. What does it mean? How does it feel? Faster, slower. I don't have that freedom anymore. I am regulating the motion based off a tempo. So I have the click track, tip, tip, tip. The focus is that. So the metronome, it's something that I use after I have developed the technique. Most of the times. Not while I'm developing the technique, because of this reason, okay? I want to first of all focus on the body motions, make sure that I can, you know, develop the body motion, try to speed them up, slowing them down and move around. Once I have that, I want to regulate the motion, so I put a metronome and I start working with the metronome. But that's a second phase of the development of the techniques for me. And that's more, you know, you go into the stone killer, you start thinking of the speed, you start thinking of endurance, that type of things. But not the development of the motion. One part is educating the body motion, the other is applying that and developing that to speed, metronome, endurance, and these things, okay? Unison harder than alternating? Not really. If you're having a harder time, there might be some very different things happening, and so maybe that's making it harder. But it should be easier, because if you ask to somebody that has never played drums to do this, it's not going to be hard, because the brain is sending the same input in two different parts of the body. If you're asking them to do more alternated stuff, it's going to be a little bit harder, because you already have to think of the motion, you know, working. A good example is this. As a drummer, if you do this, so it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, and you do unison hands, it should be easier for your weak hand, so my weak hand is the left hand, than doing it on its own. If I do it only my left hand, I don't feel very comfortable. But if I add my right hand, unison, now it's easier for my left hand to do it, because it has the right hand as a guide. It's guided by the other limb. Okay, so this is a good example, and this is why the unison should be easier actually than the alternated. But if you have very different, you know, grips or techniques or positions or development of the feet, then the unison might get a little bit harder. In that case, I suggest, you know, if you want a more, for you guys out there, if you want a more specific, a more personal answers and work directly with me so that I can see what you're doing and we can develop the techniques and everything together, sign up to jamespaynedrums.com. You can use the coupon code LIVE today, LIVE, live like live streaming, live or live show, and you can get 50% off from monthly, annual, or lifetime membership. And basically, you have access to all my content, all my courses. I have many different courses on their leg motion, ankle motion, swivel technique, heel toe, push pull, molar technique, wrist motion, finger motion. All those techniques are covered. We have coordination, independence, business stuff, theory, drumming science, scientific documents, and all that stuff, so that you have a very broad curriculum. You don't have to do it all, but you have selection. And we do every week live streaming where we practice together. We go through, questions. You can send me videos during the week, and I see what you do, and I give you direct response. I'll tell you, hey, your heel is too high, your left foot is working in that way, try to fix it. Do this exercise for this week, I'll see you next week, and we do these classes together so that you guys are not alone. Okay, that's the whole point of my website, jamespaynedrums.com. So if you want to be part of that, become a member, go on the JPD membership. Again, use coupon code LIVE today so you can get 50% off. That coupon is only gonna be working for 24 hours, so it's something that you guys should do now if you want. But beside that, the membership is always there. You can try 1 month and test it out, and if you don't like it, you can cancel anytime. So the only thing I ask, if you don't like it, just let me know why, so I can make it better and make it that makes sense for somebody to pay. We have a lot of members there, and they always give me feedback, so it's always good. But yes, awesome, guys. I think we have covered a few questions. This is fun for me. And again, if you have doubts, if you have questions, hit me up. I will try to do these streamings every once in a while, every month, at least once a month. I will be going on tour now. I'm leaving February 16th, and I'm going to be back April 4. Actually, if some of you guys are coming, tour is going to be in Europe. So if you guys are going to be at one of the shows, hit me up. Let's meet. Let's hang out, and or just come to the show and say hi. That's going to be fun. Yeah, I will try to do this again, guys. And so feel free to send me questions. I think the live streaming is a good thing. It's fair because you guys can see what happens. Like, you can ask me, hey, is it true that you can play swivel and blah blah blah, and is it true you can do things without the springs? Is it true that the finger motion is developing one way or the other, rather than go on fights on the comment section saying different things and listening to other drummers that there are great drummers out there, there are great instructors out there, but there's also instructors that their whole marketing strategy is taking down other drummers, saying, oh, they don't understand anything, all the other methods are a waste of time, and blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that. I believe everybody has good and bad things, and I think there's systems that work better for some people and work less better for other, and you just have to find your own voice out there. And I just give my voice, but just be careful. Every time you hear somebody saying, oh, they're not good, I'm good, it's because he cannot prove that it's good. So I think the live streaming is a fair thing, so that we can see what can be done, what's not possible, and get really a fair situation. So I would love to see other drummers that have a loud voice doing the same thing, do live streamings, and being even challenged that, can you do certain things, can you play here and there, blah blah blah, because they don't play live. They're always in their bedroom and they have a loud voice. So other drummers instead are amazing. So I have a lot of friends out there, and I really appreciate them. This is my part. This is what I share. And again, if you want to get more personal, get on the JPD membership. Let's do this together, and so that you guys don't have to develop and go through the nightmares that a lot of us go through to just be able to play fast bass drum or comfortably the drums. It should be fun and not frustrating. So yeah, I hope to see you guys soon again. For sure, if you're signing up, I'll see you next week, because we have the last streaming before I leave for tour Sunday. If not, you know, you can still sign up and send me emails and write in the forum. I will reply to that even on the road. So I will always keep connection with you guys as I'm gone, so that you are not alone. But I might not be able to stream on a weekly basis as I usually do, but that's just while I'm on tour. Okay, guys, thank you for being with me here. I'll see you next time. Next time I'll have a better stream. I'll have a better setup. I'll keep improving this, and hopefully this was good enough in the meanwhile. Take care. I'll see you soon.